The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Woody Johnson, according to Rich Cimini, was pissed with how the Jets season ended. Good. He should be, and he should do something about it. Let's talk about the Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. It is the Jake Asman Show on a Football Friday. Hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Big thank you to the best fans in sports, the best community for continuing to support the show, despite the fact it has never been worse to be a fan of this football team. We will commiserate together on Sunday and watch some good football, hopefully. Jaguars, Bills, watch party at T-Squared Social. Join me and John Distremski from the Ringer and SNY. We're going to be hanging out from 1 until, who knows, the party will go for at least the first game and then some. It will be fun. There'll be drink specials throughout the day from Friday beers. Grey Goose will be on site giving out free drinks. We're going to have a halftime raffle for signed memorabilia, including some Jets items. So come out and hang. Let's have a blast. It's a free event. All you need to do is RSVP, and you will be added to the raffle, and you'll be all set. Again, it's a watch party for the NFL playoffs this Sunday at 1 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it. You can make a case that tonight is one of the biggest games for the New York Jets in years. You can make that argument. I mentioned we're presented by FanDuel. Tonight, you got Indiana against Oregon, the winner in the national championship game. I wish this was the national final, but hey, we will take the opportunity to watch Dante Moore of Oregon go head-to-head with the Heisman Trophy winner and the projected first pick in the draft, Fernando Mendoza. We'll talk more about this game later on the show, but I'm excited to be tuned in tonight. If you're betting on it, make sure you do it with FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's now get into some comments that Rich Cimini made on his outstanding podcast, Flight Deck. Rich, covering the season, talked about how the Jets are sticking with Aaron Glenn, but had this to say about how Woody Johnson reportedly feels about the way this nightmare, debacle, disgrace of a season actually ended.
For now, let's discuss the state of the team, specifically the head coaching situation. Woody Johnson is committed to Aaron Glenn. Now, call him crazy, but that's the situation. I can tell you this, Johnson was not happy by the finish to the season, despite the circumstances. Yeah, rookie quarterback, some injuries, evaluations, some quote-unquote tanking. He was not happy to see his team get blown out 5 times in a row in historic fashion. As you know, first team in NFL history to lose 5 straight by 23 or more points. That's incredible. Not even Kotite did that, not even Gase. And so Woody, from what I understand, didn't even go to the last 3 games, which is unlike him. So just because, he didn't fire Glenn does not mean he's not unhappy. Does not mean he's happy, rather. He was pissed.
So he's pissed, but he's not going to do anything about it. That's the move. Again, this is why the Jets remain a dysfunctional organization. Because a real franchise would have moved off of Aaron Glenn, would admit the mistake that he's not the guy. That's the bottom line. A real franchise would pivot. Woody Johnson, you still have time to do the right thing. There could be more openings around the league after this weekend. There could be some really good coaches that are available. You'll get someone who's better than Aaron Glenn. It won't be that hard. You also have the number 2 pick in the draft and a pathway to get a quarterback. 5 total first rounders over the next 2 years. It's really 6 if you count the second round pick. That's pick 33. You have $100 million in cap space the next 2 years. You have an offensive line already in place. You got a number 1 receiver. You got a couple pass rushers that if they're properly coached, we know they could be solid players. Not starting from nothing. This would be the time to do something smart and admit a mistake and get a real coach. Instead, you double down with Aaron Glenn, who you're already pissed with. But Jake, they're tanking. Well, if they were tanking, why was the owner upset with how it looked at the end of the year? There's a difference between tanking, right, playing your young players, and still being competitive when you're doing that. Seeing player development from some of the young guys. We saw none of that. We saw guys quit on the coach. Glenn fired his defensive coordinator probably because Woody was pissed. He wanted to see some improvement down the stretch, understanding that, yes, the wins might not be there, but would there be some player development? You know, from a head coach who preached it's all about player development.
Coaching. It's coaching. Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
We got none of that. Name one player that improved this year on the Jets that was coached up properly. I'll give you one, Jawan Briggs. It's embarrassing. Quincy Williams just forgot how to play football, right? Jamie and Sherwood, team MVP a year ago, just forgot how to play. Okay. It's a joke. If Woody's already pissed and he's unhappy, here's how we all know this is going to go. He won't do the smart thing and admit a mistake. So we will start next year with Aaron Glenn as the head coach. The Jets, who have to play their own division, obviously 6 times. The Jets, who have to play the AFC West and the NFC North, will likely start 1-5, 2-6. That might be too generous. And when that happens, here's my question. Aaron Glenn's record, let's say they start 1-5. Aaron Glenn's record is going to be 4-19 at that point. Same record Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans, what he had when he was fired. Why wouldn't Glenn be fired? Again, of the 24 openings right now, Aaron Glenn is, or of the 24 head coaches right now, Aaron Glenn is dead last. No one can actually name one thing he does well as a head coach. It's embarrassing. The spin cycle that you've seen from some, referencing challenge success rate. No block field goals allowed. Penalty improvement when they went from 31 to 23. Penalty improvement. Look at the teams in the playoffs right now. Look where they're at in penalties. Jaguars are 1, Denver 4, Bears 6. So 3 of the best teams in the league were top 6 in flags this year. I believe 5 teams in the playoffs in total were top 10 in penalties overall. What are we talking about here? If the owner's already pissed, then why are we delaying what we all know is coming? Woody will not be patient when they get off to a terrible start next year. He won't be. But here's the problem. If you already feel this way, why aren't you acting now? Look at the candidates that are available. Oh, but Jake, why would Harbaugh want to come here? So if you can't get Harbaugh, okay, he takes a job that Mike McCarthy was going to get. Mike McCarthy's there. Cliff Kingsbury is there. Kevin Stefanski is there. Mike McDaniel might take a head coaching job, it sounds like. So if he takes a job somewhere else, all of a sudden, one of these guys that, oh, there's no way the Jets could get him. Well, maybe now they can. You have to try. Again, Andy Reid was a quarterback coach when Philadelphia hired him. Maybe there's this great coach out there we don't know. No one knew who Sean McVay was when LA hired him. The idea that, oh, well, who would take the job? Nonsense. 8 of the 10 last one-and-done coaches, the replacement then came in and went to the postseason in their tenure there. With Dave Canales being the latest example with Mike Vrabel, of course, after Gerard Mayo was canned. And look at the difference between Mayo and his 1 year and Glenn. Glenn was so much worse. Glenn was on the David Culley level. He won less games than David Culley did in Houston. And David Culley led to Lovie Smith, who then also got fired and led to D'Amico, and it all worked out. Antonio Pierce led to Pete Carroll, and now they have the number 1 pick. And they have real hope because they're making a change. Look at the teams in the draft order. Look where they're picking. The top 6 in the NFL draft, 5 of them don't have coaches. You want to guess which team still has a coach? The New York Jets, baby.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're shit.
So again, if Woody is already pissed, if he's already upset, if he's unhappy with how the end of the year went down, for the love of God, do the right thing for your fan base. There's just no reason whatsoever to put us through another year of this. It's not going to work. It doesn't matter who they get at quarterback, Mendoza or Moore. It won't matter. Again, Aaron Glenn's first season was not just bad. It was historically bad. And history says coaches who start this way almost never recover. Over the last 25 seasons, so since 2001, 29 first-time head coaches won 4 or fewer games in their debut year. Glenn is now one of them. Only 2 of the previous 28 ever went on to win a playoff game. One has Joe Burrow. The other has only succeeded with an elite OC and Ben Johnson. Look what he's now doing in Chicago. Look what the Lions did without him. And let's be fair to Jared Goff. He's a good quarterback who went to a Super Bowl with a different team before the Lions even had him. For Aaron Glenn to even work out, he would be one of the rarest outliers in modern NFL history. The on-field results give you no evidence of this happening. They went 3-14, tied for the second most losses in a franchise's history. It's Gase and Kotet that ever lost 14 games or more. They finished the entire season without an interception, despite facing 515 passing attempts. No team has ever done that since interceptions started being tracked in 1933. Again, the Jets have been bad before. It has never looked like this. They have the third worst DVOA when you combine offense and defense and remove special teams. Since 1978, the special teams was 6th best ever. That's why they won a couple games. They beat the Browns by 7 points. They had a kickoff return and a punt return in the same game. They started with a 7-game losing streak, beat 3 backup quarterbacks, and then ended the year on a 5-game losing streak. That was the Jet season. Against the division that they will have to play every year, it was even worse. They went 0-6 and got outscored by 20.3 points per game. It's the second worst divisional point differential since the current format began. This was not a competitive team. This was not the Jets getting unlucky. This was a team that got dominated, outcoached. They were horrendous. So those saying, oh, they're tanking. I mean, they were in a lot of games early. 0-7 matters, man. 1 possession losses don't excuse the way that Aaron Glenn blew the Steelers game by having Xavier Gibson, who we all knew didn't belong on the team, on the roster. I was at the Bucs game. Tampa did everything to hand that game to the Jets. It was a blowout till the end. Tampa lost Mike Evans in that game. They were down 3 starters on their offensive line. They committed, I think, either 14 or 15 penalties. It was the classic Todd Bowles special. They were dominated for most of that game. The Miami game, they needed garbage time at the end just to technically make it a 1-score game, right, with the onside kick at the end. They're down 17-3 in that game. They committed 9 penalties on offense that night, 13 for the game. Glenn directly cost them wins this year, especially the Denver game. He did not know how long the game-winning field goal yardage was. He didn't know. An NFL coach did not know. He said the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the head coach. They were horrific in those scenarios. They quit against them against the Dallas Cowboys. They got destroyed in their first ever division game at home in week 2 after we had a moral victory in week 1. And again, beyond the record, Aaron Glenn failed at every core responsibility of a head coach. His staffing hires were a disgrace. Charles London's the quarterback coach? Really? Steve Wilkes? The schemes were a joke. Oh, we're running the Wilkes defense. Where's your defense? You're the coach. Step up. You had 8 of your 11 starters back from last year. You had a first-team All-Pro at all 3 levels of your defense. It should never look the way it did. When 0 blocked field goals made Aaron Glenn's list of positives from the season, that's all you need to know. The bar is in the basement, people. This was not a rebuilding year with encouraging signs. It was a season of hell. Historic failure, horrific coaching, and keeping Aaron Glenn is not showing patience. It's ignoring overwhelming evidence that he is not the answer. He's not. And we are wasting our times. And if the owner is already pissed, that tells you all you need to know. Sad. Other Jet news beyond this head coach apparently still sticking around, even though the owner's pissed and will probably fire him after a 1-5 start. The Jets have requested to interview Vikings passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach Durante Jones for their defensive coordinator job. He's the first known candidate so far. I will withhold judgment on who they hire until we see who they hire. I'd imagine this will be a lengthy process. You have a lot of teams with head coach openings. And if you're a great DC candidate, you're going to wait to see what the best job is you can get. Right? Miami, Baltimore, the Giants, Tennessee, Atlanta, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders all have coach openings. If you're a legit candidate like a Jim Schwartz or Jim Leonard, if you're a legit defensive coordinator option, Raheem Morris, you're going to wait. For example, what if Chris Shula, the Rams DC, gets a head coaching job? Would Raheem Morris want to work for the Jets and Aaron Glenn or go back with Sean McVay where he won a Super Bowl? So this will be a lengthy process. I will not judge and share my full opinions on, the candidates and who they hire till we see who all the candidates are and ultimately what they do. Some background on Jones. He has been with Brian Flores the last couple of years. The Vikings this year are second in passing defense despite having a lot of injuries there, kind of patchwork in their secondary. Second in passing touchdowns allowed. First in passing first downs allowed. Sixth in net passing yards allowed. 1 year as DC at LSU, where the team was a top 30 defense in points per game. That's from Will Parkinson digging up the numbers there. So, interesting candidate. Not a retread. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'll say it. Yeah, I'll say it again. The only path for Aaron Glenn to prove many like myself wrong is to hire a great coaching staff. Because if you think about it, we knew Adam Gase was not a good coach, but Greg Williams helped that Jets team win 7 games that first year. Right? Jamal Adams was a first-team All-Pro and then was never the same after that. Like, you really need great coaching. Great coordinators. And again, do we have the infrastructure to attract some of these coaches? And even, of course, the infrastructure to develop a quarterback, which is what it's all about. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. I want to thank everyone for being tuned into the show. It's a football Friday. Let's do a big giveaway today on the shows. Rex Ryan signed football. That's right. The last time the Jets were good, this man was the head coach of the NYJ. So a Rex signed ball for an Asmaniac on the show today. We will combine entries across this stream and the afternoon stream. So if you want to enter, gift the community a membership, or send in a $10 super chat or higher to qualify. You also will be entered in the raffle on Tuesday for the framed Super Bowl III ticket display, the signed Broadway Joe Namath helmet, and the replica Super Bowl III championship ring. Again, thanks to everyone for being tuned in. We got a big one tonight between Indiana and Oregon. We certainly could talk about that on the show today. But let's get to some calls, a little solo dolo episode for you here. We'll be joined by Jets reporter Antoine Staley from the New York Daily News this afternoon, get his insights on where things stand with the team. So right now it's me and you, because I know we've had so many calls this week from people. So we're going guestless to give people a chance to voice their opinion on a show that is all about fans being able to sound off on their team. First State Jets is the first to enter the raffle today. Thank you, First State Jets. I appreciate you.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Atlanta Jet fan in the house. My championship game was last night. Go Canes. P.S. Maybe the Jets should consider Carson Beck. He kind of fits what Parcells used to like as a prospect. Touchdown to interception ratio, games won, amount of starts in the league. I don't think they'll take him in the first round, but if Dante Moore goes back to school and they don't love Ty Simpson enough to take it too, and maybe he's an option. I don't know. Maybe he's an option with one of the second round picks, or things change a lot. Good for Carson Beck, though, man. Really cool story for him. So many people were just saying how terrible he was. And it's like, you look at him at Georgia, like, they won so many games, and now he's in the national title game. So good for him. Coach James in the house. He's in the raffle for 5. I'm tired of talking about this. If the owner will not make a change, we only have to hope, but that is no longer enough. Hope has this as the worst team in the NFL and the longest drought in the playoffs in professional sports. Shake my head. I can't argue with that, James. It sucks. Again, there's such like a small window for Aaron Glenn to turn this around. It's like nail these hires, hit on a quarterback that's like dummy proof, and then off we go. I saw this yesterday floating around. Over the last decade, look at the Jets. Top 10 best, top 10 worst teams. Giants right behind us. It's embarrassing, man. It really is. And of the teams on this list, like the Jets have like the best fan base, man. The Jet fans, Bears fans, Browns fans, these fan bases are incredible. At least the Browns have been to the playoffs twice since the Jets last made the playoffs. We are the Browns now. Chicago has hope. They got a real coach. We used to joke the Bears were the NFC Jets. Well, not anymore. Bo checks in. I have no doubt we will acquire significant talent for next season. Unfortunately, we have a coach who can't coach. A Ferrari with no tires is useless. Again, I keep coming back to like the Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas era. They had talented players, but they only won 7 games as their ceiling. Aaron Glenn's way worse than Saleh. And Saleh wasn't a good coach. So what does that mean? Like Saleh had the Jets at 6-3 in his second year, 7-4, and then it fell apart. But at least we had a fun September, October, November. Right? We had hope. I went to the game with my dad when they played the Bears in the rain after they benched Zach Wilson after the Pats debacle. Mike White started and played great. And we had hope. They're 7-4. Oh my God. Going up to Buffalo, a team they beat already in the regular season that year. That was after Thanksgiving. Like the Jets were alive in December. They actually were alive going into 2023, right? New Year's Day, 2023 was when Mike White came back from the injury and started against the Seahawks. And he wasn't right. He wasn't healthy. It was obvious. The Jets got killed. They got eliminated. That was my first ever show on ESPN New York that day. I was still working in Houston and got a chance to do a show when I was back in town. They gave me the opportunity, which was great. That was my first ever show on New York radio, screaming about how big of a disaster this collapse was. Even last year, the Jets were 2-1. Remember that? They were 2-1 after they beat the Pats. Like we had hope last year. Short-lived, but I'll take that over we had nothing this year. This year started and the season ended. We never had anything. They started 0-7. Hexen in the raffle for 1. Thank you, Hexen. Antonio Jimenez says, draft Dante Moore, then use the Colts pick to trade back into the top 10 and draft Arvell Reese or Caleb Downs. I think that's easier said than done because those guys could potentially go really, really high. So if you use the Colts pick, you would then need to use another pick. Are you going to trade a future 1 to go back into the top 5 to get Arvell Reese if that's your guy? I mean, the Texans did it, right? They wanted Will Anderson, so they struck a deal. I think they came up from like 12 to get to 3 to take Will Anderson. I think that's where I was doing radio at the time in Houston. I think they had 12 that year from the Watson trade. I'd have to look up what they gave up specifically, but obviously they don't regret that move. If you think Arvell Reese is Will Anderson, then yeah, I mean, you have 3 first-round picks next year. I'd listen. One Rem fan says, we need Woody to have his Leon Hess moment. I want to get enjoyment from this team before I die and finally land the big fish. Yeah, again, that'd be what smart owners do. Jetstream in the house in the raffle for 5. Thank you, Jake, for doing the Lord's work and keeping us sane. Although if you keep showing graphics showing how bad the Jets have been over the past 10 years, we might go crazy. Thanks for all you do, bro. Well, thank you for watching, Jetstream. Again, I love the Jets. But that's why I'm so critical, because I know this is not going to work for at least another year. And I'm just disgusted with it. I make my living talking about them for 4 hours a day. And it's just like, I just want happiness for this fan base. It's depressing. It really is. Again, I hope I'm wrong about Aaron Glenn somehow. I don't think I will be, but I hope there's so much egg on my face I suffocate from it. Yeah, I hope Aaron Glenn is up there at the podium after the Jets win the Super Bowl and says, bleep you, Jake Asman. That'd be the greatest thing ever. I'd rather be wrong if it means this team finally finds success. I'm just not going to sit here and be gaslit into this master plan and all this. Trust me, bro, is not a plan.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me and have faith in what we're doing.
How could you? How could anyone? Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is the place to be. We'll get to that coming up. We're presented today by ZipRecruiter. Look, maybe the Jets should use ZipRecruiter the next time they need to hire a head coach. It probably couldn't be any worse than what we're currently dealing with. But whether you're looking to hire an NFL head coach, probably not. Or you're looking to just hire someone for your business, finding the right people is hard. Trust me, we're Jet fans. We know how hard it is to find the right head coach and quarterback and all that. That's where ZipRecruiter will come in. If you're hiring, they make it easy. Their powerful matching technology helps you quickly find qualified candidates without wasting any time. You can even see how many job seekers are a great fit immediately. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site on G2. 4 out of 5 employers find a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Signed Rex Ryan football is our giveaway. Keep that in mind if you want a super chat or gift a membership to support the community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to your call.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
First up on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is What the Hell Jets. Hello, What the Hell Jets.
What's good, Jake? Can you hear me?
What's up, man? Yes, sir.
So I got a question, man. For the last 15 years, haven't we always been hearing trust the system, trust the coach, trust everything is just trust.
Trust me.
Now
bro.
we're hearing Aaron Glenn. Now we're hearing Aaron Glenn said, "Trust me." Aren't we just tired of hearing that? Like, I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of seeing our coaches stand up there and say the most stupidest bleep that I've ever heard any head coach had. I'm just tired of it, man. This is what you should ask your Asmaniacs and ask the ticket holders to do. Let's go down to One Jets Drive and say, get rid of Glenn. Maybe we should do that because we're the one who's paying all these guys' salary. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So why don't we just go down there and just get down there and just let's say something. Let's just yell, get rid of Glenn. Maybe Woody will listen. Ask maniacs that do this whole thing and ask them what they would say. And I guarantee you, they say, yeah, let's get it together. Let's get a rally. Let's go down there. Let's tell them to get rid of Glenn. I don't think that's ever been done in NFL history that I know of. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know if there's ever been a revolt at a team facility for something like that. There's been rallies to get coaches fired, GMs fired. The Jets in the past, remember people fundraised a plane for John Izek to be canned years ago. Giants fans have flown planes in their history. They did it as recently as this year. Look, I don't know how Woody could ignore his fan base right now. I mean, again, I don't know anyone who's renewed their season tickets. Generally speaking, I'm sure there's some, but it's just I don't know how anyone could right now. Like if you took a poll of what fans want, should Aaron Glenn be retained? I think it's 80%, maybe higher, that don't want him back. That see all the other available coaches and recognize this is the moment. Let's stop being a year late. Let's do the right thing and be proactive.
But has he been ignoring us for years and raising ticket prices?
Right.
With the
I would not
that
renew tickets.
In?
I agree. If I'm a Jet fan and you want your voice to be heard, while they don't make the vast majority of their money, the NFL, through ticket sales, it does send a message to ownership that this fan base is disgusted if no one goes to the games. It does.
I don't trust this regime to bring in this new quarterback and make him a pro, make him our quarterback for the next 10 years. I'm with you. I don't agree. They just bring somebody else in, man. I'm so frustrated with this team, man. It's sometimes I can watch the first 5 plays and know we're gonna win or not. That's how I know this team. And I think you agree. We all can watch the first 5 plays and know how this game gonna turn out.
Yep, always.
I'm fed up, bro. But Jake, I love you, brother. Keep up the good work.
Hey, Cali Jet, you're the man, dude. Great call. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. Pretty fun. I'm just picturing like someone on ChatGPT could definitely make like an AI of like Jet fans storming One Jets Drive. Oh, man. Snoopy writes in, Jake still seething and crying about a coach who won't get replaced. 300 IQ stuff, I'll tell you. Well, when Rich Cimini, who's respected, incredible, puts out a report that Woody Johnson was pissed with how the year ended and was unhappy with how it went down, I feel like I'm going to talk about that as someone who talks about the Jets every day. If that's me seething and crying, I think it's because you're in your feelings that you want to defend a coach who's putrid. All right? So, Snoopy, we know you're a dog. If you like a dog shit coach, I guess it makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and and stand for that. I'll voice my opinion. And if you don't like it, this is a free show. You don't have to watch. In fact, I'll make it easy for you. You can't comment anymore for the rest of the day. Goodbye. Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it. Rex Ryan's in the house. Bring me back to coach these guys, Woody. Rex, we're giving away a signed football of yours today, man. How do you feel about that? What do you think? Yesterday was the 15-year anniversary of the Nick Folk kick to beat the Colts to send the Jets to Foxborough. And Nick Folk is our kicker now, baby. Hit it, Rex.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy. Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy. Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy. Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy. Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy. Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy. Rexy.
We all needed a smile on a day like today, didn't we? Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. This man has 15 children. Maybe one of them will grow up and be a successful head coach for the Jets. Johnny Boy is up next on the program. Hello, Johnny.
My guy, Jake. What's going on, man?
Johnny.
How you holding up?
Living the dream, man. How are you?
Oh, you know, dealing with the crap show of the Jets, man. But, hey, we're still here, right? Still rocking,
right.
Talking about it. So,
I'll tell you what, we'll be here a lot longer than Aaron Glenn will be, unfortunately.
I mean, Jake, you know my stance on it, man. You know I'm still wanting to rock with AG. I don't believe on the whole 1 year and let him go. But, I mean, you make some good points, too, as well. And, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, you have every right to be pissed off. Everybody does. Anybody does. If you're upset about what you've seen with the Jets this year, I get it, you know. But my opinion is I still want to keep him, give him a quarterback. Let's see what Engstrand – and I'm not an Engstrand guy at all. But I wanted to ask you this. So it goes to this question. You saw, right, and I asked Nick Shine the other day as well. You saw what the Redskins did with the whole RG3 Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want this team to do a scenario just like that as well? So if we end up going more, who is the Kirk Cousins that could potentially be there in the later rounds for us? Would you want to double dip on quarterbacks? Your Drew Aller is there. They're talking about maybe 4th or 5th.
I probably would wait, Johnny. I'll tell you why, because I don't think Glenn's going to be here next year. So I'd rather just wait instead of just burning a pick. I'd rather just try and take a good player, and then let's see what the quarterback situation looks like, at least going into the draft at first, and then let the regime in 2027 go from there with Moore, Mendoza, and then whatever else the plan is with the 3-1s. I probably wouldn't burn a pick. Unless they didn't take someone at 2, and it's just this is their opportunity to get someone, maybe. But I don't think I would do the double up on QB, because when I was originally talking about that, it wasn't to a point where I thought like this head coach was just untenable. And I'm at that point now. I don't want to burn a pick.
So then, all right. So let's just say, because if I'm being honest with you, Jake, I don't think we go quarterback this year, man. Like we might trade back down and then fill up more holes. And I just saw that Reese declared for the NFL itself. Now, I think I like Sonny Styles more over Reese, but let's just say we go that route. You're upset with a really good linebacker to probably replace, Quinnen and maybe Sherwood, or insert other position player that we would put in.
I like Reese. I mean Styles, but you wouldn't take a linebacker at 2. You would take the pass rusher who's being compared to all the elite guys that typically go in the top 5, you know?
No, correct. But what I mean is, like, because I don't think we're going to go quarterback, we probably trade back, pick up more assets itself.
Well, who's coming up? Who's making a trade up, though, if Moore doesn't declare? I don't know if it's the kind of draft the teams are desperate to move up.
And that's where I'm finding it, right? Because it's not as talented as many people are saying.
It's a good draft. There's some really good players, but like teams typically trade up for QBs. And if you only have one quarterback that's being deemed worth of a top 5 pick, and Simpson's more of a guy that will go somewhere in the teens or in the 20s, I just don't see the Jets being able to do that. But we could be dead wrong. We never know how the process will play out. I don't know how many people thought Jacksonville was going to trade up for Travis Hunter a year ago. That was a big surprise when it happened.
Gotcha. And then the last thing, our guy Jim Leonard is getting a DC interview for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Is that name going to be out, you think? Or
I hope. I don't know if he'd want the job here, though, right? Like, I think he'd want to go somewhere that has more stability, right? Aaron Glenn, I think we all agree, whether you're pro him coming back or not, he's on the hot seat. So
agreed.
If you're Jim Leonard, you want your first crack at being a DC to be with a head coach who might be fired if they get off to a bad start or just are bad in general next year. I think I mean, if Glenn could get him, great. I think that, well, I'll give Glenn a lot of credit if he could convince someone of that ilk to take this job, right? That's where you need Aaron Glenn to prove people respect him and believe in him. And I'm not buying into that. I think his coaching hires were so bad this year that other than Banjo, which was a recommendation from Westhoff, and no one was talking about Banjo because he was a player 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to need to find people like that. But does Glenn have the context around the league to be able to get great assistance? I'm not sure.
And what happened with Scott Turner, Nerve Turner's kid?
He's on the staff too. We should probably mention him more too, instead of everyone just bringing up Charles London, myself included.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened with that? Like, I thought
he's a senior offensive assistant. Yeah.
Yeah. So something with that. But anyways, Jake, keep doing your thing, man. Look, it is what it is at this point. I have faith. Somehow, blind faith, bro. But hey, still Jets. Jets. Keep doing your thing, brother.
Always, Johnny. Appreciate you, dude. We're all in this together. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's check in with a man who is on the road to eternal glory, some are saying. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time.
Hey, Beast, you're up?
Yeah, we're in Oak Lawn today, man. I just got me some chicken. Woo! Spicy, the best way to do it. Number 1 on the house, baby. And I even got myself, oh, hell yeah. Got me a little Married with Children all season, baby. Hey, for $3.95, can you dig that, sucker? You can't touch this cat. I got more balls than anybody else on that planet, baby. So, hey, we got to kick it up another bit. And, hey, stick around because coming soon, we're going to have a brand new cooking channel, and it's going to be Cooking with the King. And we're going to do something that's going to change the world forever. And don't worry about Aaron Glenn because his picks were very, very bad this year. I know we're not going to get Jim Leonard. I know that for a fact. But I do want one thing. I want Harbaugh more than anybody. Harbaugh can turn this fucking team around with one stroke of the pen. All he's got to do is come up here, sign a $60 million deal. Let's get him. Let's get him. Now, do your job, Woody. Get off your fat ass. Stop diddling around like you're on dementia and wake up. You're in your 70s. You're almost in your 80s. Wake up. Do you understand? Wake up. Turn your effing hearing aid up!
Don't let go of the rope. What rope are you talking about? This whole team looks like it's shot to shit. Who the hell you think you are? I am.
Salient points as always from the Beast. Who could argue with any of that? Nobody could. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
Good morning, Jake.
Hello, Chuck Wagon.
To Johnny Boy's take about holding back on a quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but you really got to see what you're going to get in free agency first before you can think about even holding off on a quarterback. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, I don't know why Woody would say he's so pissed off, and yet he hasn't really done anything
No.
active. So it just surprises me. So while I was on hold, I was actually looking at the Jets. I was trying to see if I could find a profit and loss statement. I really can't find one because it's considered a public company, and it's privately held. If you or any of your contacts can get their hands on the most recent P&L statement, I would like to see that, because I have to think that the only way Woody Johnson is actually going to do something remotely possible to get rid of Glenn or something is if he was losing. I would have to start at $50 million a year, and then I think he would be a little bit more active. Because again, this is a business. Like most of these owners, they only care about the dollars. And if he's not losing money, why would he want to change what he's doing? It's profitable. I think the only way that most owners usually take action is if they're seeing red numbers at the end of the year. Again, every owner has a different threshold of when they want to step in. If I had to guess, again, with how much money the Johnsons have, I would probably start it at 50 million in the hole for the year. Maybe it's 100 million. I don't know. But with how profitable these leagues are because of the media rights deal, because that's primarily where they get all their revenue from. A lot of fans can say, stop getting season tickets, PSLs, concessions, parking. That's just a drop of the bucket. The main source of revenue is the national deals for media and any of the big time sponsors that are split between all the owners.
Chuck, that's obvious. The NFL makes the least amount of its profits from ticket sales compared to the other three major sports in this country. It's all about the TV deals. That's why the Jets franchise value has gone up from $600 million when Woody bought the team to $10 billion if he made it available right now for someone.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. People are thinking that, decrease in season ticket revenues and not going to games and this and that will, wake Woody up. And I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, and I think you're getting it, it's not going to wake him up. The only way he's going to wake up is if he's seeing a big red number at the end of the year. So it's unfortunate, but I think that's the only way that Woody's going to wake up.
But empty seats and fan outrage and the Giants getting Harbaugh, Chuck, and Woody caring about that will bother him. But Woody's not going to sell the team. That's not realistic. What you need to hope is that Woody has an epiphany and wakes up and realizes, holy shit, I made another mistake. Chance of that happening? Unlikely. He's pissed, but he won't do anything about it. Great. If the Jets start 1-5, then he's going to be pissed and fire Glenn. And it's a waste of all our times the second that happens. Because you could do it right now. Why make the Salah mistake twice? You already had doubts on the guy, clearly. After 2023, you let him start the year. At 2-3, you fired him. They were 2-1. They lost 2 straight. They were 2-3 playing for first place against the Bills on Monday Night Football, and he fired Robert Saleh. And Saleh wasn't a good coach, but again, that lit that season up in flames. And it's because the perception that he fired Saleh, he didn't want to fire Glenn already. I'll tell you what, the perception is going to be a lot worse when you keep this guy who we all know is not any good, and they're terrible again next year, and then we're just waiting another year. And that playoff drought's at 16 years at that point. Great. Hey, Bucks Fanatic checks in. His emblem is fire bowls. We've been there. Where's that meme of like James Franco? First time with the noose around his neck? Bucks Fanatic, appreciate your support. As promised, when you gift memberships, we give you Angry Todd.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You gotta fucking care enough where the shit hurts. You gotta fucking care enough where the shit hurts. It gotta fucking mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your fucking livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that shit. It was in the fucking excusable, and there's no fucking answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the fucking mirror.
Thank you, Todd. Isn't it amazing Bowles wasn't fired, but they fired literally all his assistant coaches, coordinators. Tom Moore retired. 80-something years old, still doing his thing. The best quote of all time is from Tom Moore. John Gruden, when he was doing the Monday Night Football announcing, asked Tom Moore, how come Peyton Manning's backup quarterbacks didn't get more reps at practice? And Tom Moore told Gruden, well, John, if 18 goes down, we're fucked. And we don't practice fucked. It's like the greatest line ever. Excuse my language, but it was appropriate there. Coach James Rodriguez in the house. A 10 spot from James. Hey now, James, give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Give him a Jet Champ, Big Show.
Jets, Jets.
We have a Rex Ryan football that is up for grabs, signed by the man himself, available on the show today. Again, this show and the second show, you can enter for your chance to win. Jesse in the house. He says, I'm not sure if Beast can call Woody fat. I don't think he knows what that looks like because I don't know the last time he checked himself. Strong take there from Jesse. Jesse also writes, and first of all, who's that guy? He's referring to Snoopy before. You could talk about whatever you want to talk about. Elephants, and people will still watch. Well, thank you, Jesse. Maybe we will talk about elephants this year because the football is going to be putrid by October again. Also, I can't wait to see you guys Sunday. Jesse, I'm glad you're coming, man. Maybe we'll get a good game. Either way, we'll have fun. Commiserate about the Jets. JJ's awesome. He's a Dolphins fan, so at least we'll be aligned with rooting against Buffalo for the day. I'm going to pick the Jags to win, too. One of my upset special picks. I don't think the Bills are as good as what their reputation is. People are like, oh, there's no Josh Allen or no Patrick Mahomes or Lamar or Burrow in the playoffs. So it's Allen's time. Why are the Bills the 6th seed? Who are their stud players on defense? Who are their receivers? Jacksonville's got good corners. They'll sit in zone. And yeah, Allen's incredible, but I think they match up well with Allen. I do. I think Liam Cohen is a phenomenal head coach. Again, Allen is the best player on the field. No one could dispute that, but I think Jacksonville can win. I think they should be a favorite in the game, too. Kevin writes in, hold the rope, Jake. Give me the duck combo. Moore at 2 and Sadiq at 16. I'm excited to watch him tonight, too, in the game, for what it's worth. Kevin.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Don't let go, baby. Don't you dare think about letting go of the rope. Not around here. Not up in here. The Rooster is on the line. He's next. Solo show, rapid fire with your calls after my monologue throughout. What's up, Rooster?
Happy New Year, first and foremost.
Larry David says you can't say that anymore, but
yeah,
I'll forgive you.
I know, exactly. But also, shout out to my daughter's school, the University of Miami. What a game last night.
The U. I love it.
You. Malachi Tony, the neck. Doesn't he look remind you of Tyreek Hill? How good is he? God damn, is he good?
Think about it, too. He reclassified, so he should really be a senior in high school.
He's a kid. But let's talk about the Jets. And I'm going to pretend that I'm holding a year-end meeting with Aaron Glenn.
Yep.
And I'm going to give him 2 positives because you got to be fair. There were 2 positives this year. Just 2. The hiring of Chris Banjo was, if we no matter how it got there, he hired him, whatever it was a positive. The special team's unbelievable. And the tank of the last 4 games was done perfectly. And it assured us being in the 2. It was we were so bad that he assured us the 2 pick. Okay? Those are positives. We would have all been upset if somehow he played Tyrod Taylor and won a game there. But he tanked it. Okay? So those are positives.
What was Tyrod's record with the Jets anyway?
No, they could have won. They probably would have lost with Tyrod, but he assured it. There was no chance. 35 point. You got to give credit for that. But you got to get rid of this guy, and I'll tell you why. Now you look at the things that matter. That doesn't matter. I could tank. You could tank. Anyone could throw an undrafted quarterback in there. Okay, that's easy. But now start from the beginning. the Rodgers press conference, the Rodgers meeting was so egregious, so shocking. And I know you've gone over it, that you don't want to pick his brain for 2 hours. You have a 5-minute meeting. That it was the highlight of insecurity. That's one.
Right, and just going in with the conceived notion that you're moving on before even getting to know the guy and seeing if maybe your philosophies could align. Like, not even giving, again, he has every right to move on from Rodgers, and I understood it. I wasn't happy about it.
No,
but
it's fine.
It was handled poorly, and then my big issue is not even that they signed Fields. The contract is a separate issue. It's what they said about Fields, what they promised they'd be able to do with Fields, and just how big of a disaster it was. That gives me no confidence that they're equipped to now pick a quarterback and put that quarterback in position to have a chance to be successful.
So let me just list these off. You've gone over them 100 times. His bravado, false bravado, the press conference was a turnoff. He hires Steve Wilkes. Again, it shows me weakness. He had to find a defensive coordinator that was out of a job because he's so weak that he needs a staff around him of newcomers and weakness. Then at the last minute decides to fire the guy with 3 games to go. And the worst part of that was doesn't even take over the coaching duties, throws his poor guy. But okay, he's tanking, but keep going. Then the whole thing with his idea of his philosophy of getting Justin Fields and playing a 19, like I know you could run the ball, but not even to pass the ball. And then to have the passing offense that was just so despicable. Of all time, look, I'm talking the first 7 games. It didn't make sense. So now you're sitting here today and you have all these great assets and you're Woody Johnson. How could you trust this guy to be your leader? So I'd fire him in 2 seconds and I get, and someone would take that job. But if you're not firing Aaron Glenn, you have to go in there and say, Aaron, I love you. Everything you said to me was opposite. You now work for Darren Muji. Darren Muji is making the shots. He's making the final personnel, and I'm letting the people know that. And I'm going to spin it in a way to say we are just focusing on Aaron as a coach, which is what he said he needed to get better at. And that might be the only way to salvage the perception if we're going to keep this guy. Thoughts?
I don't know if that works. I mean, I kind of do notice like a power structure shift. I know Cimini noted it on his podcast. Nick Ferrier wrote a column about it, that it felt like Muji had more cachet, more sway, just body language, just the way he went about answering the questions. Again, like my scenario that I live with is Glenn's gone now, Muji and Spielman, who's there, could pick the coach, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I don't hate your suggestion, Rooster. Ultimately, though, I don't know if it matters because if this head coach is retained, they're not going to win next year with him. That's the problem.
And the only thing I'm going to push back on you on is I'm not sure. This Woody Johnson's so out there. It's like dealing with a great grandfather who just spews nonsense. I'm not sure that at 1-5 he fires him. In fact, if I was Woody Johnson, if I'm keeping Aaron Glenn, right? If I'm keeping him next year, I would be standing up and saying, he is my coach for the next 5 years, no matter what. And we know in 3 years. And I'll tell you why. To try to get a staff in here. To say we know it's a 3-year process.
Yeah, but no one's going to believe that. That's not going to work. That's just going to anger the fan base. You're going to have no one renewing season tickets at that point. You can't say that.
Why not? And then you can still fire him.
Yeah, because you can't say that. You can't go 3-14 and say he's here no matter what. That's a slap in the face to your fans. You can't do that.
But then, so why keep him?
Because they need to operate like they know they need to show real improvement. I don't want them thinking they could just take their time and have this long rebuild internally. That's not how it should be done either.
But I just think, like, why fire him at 1-5? I want him fired. Let's just clear. I want him out now. I want Stefanski. I want
Rooster. You can make the case if they start 1-5, maybe just leave them like they did with Gase for the rest of the year, so you could get the number 1 pick. But again, you already have 3 number 1 picks. You have 4 chances to get a top pick because you get the better of the Dallas or the Packers pick. So I just think
I want him out. I'm with you. But if Woody Johnson is not firing him today, and we know he's a disaster, Why is he firing him after 1-5? Like, what's going to change in the next 6 games?
He might run out of patience is what will change. And the fact that Cimini's reporting he was pissed with how the way the end of the year went, how the Jets were embarrassed, tells me that all the Jet fans trying to go with they're tanking. Woo! It's like, no, man, there's tanking and then not being the worst team in NFL history in the month of December.
I'm not. The tanking was the only thing, and he didn't tank. He would have lost those games anyway. He's a loser. The first 7, everything up to the tank, it's over for him. You know what bothers me, Jake? When he fired Wilkes, that he didn't stand up there and said, I'm calling the shots now. He passed it off. Why? Because he can't do it.
Right.
He always says, what's his line? You just do it, whatever his stupid line is. It's coaching. Then why didn't you fucking coach? Excuse me. Why didn't you coach?
Well, he did say he was going to help Chris Harris. Again, Chris Harris, the defense was a joke.
He sent Chris Harris. If he must hate Chris Harris to give this poor kid a coaching job and then to stick those 9 guys that he had on the field, he must hate Chris Harris. He should have coached them up and taken it like a man. I'd have had more respect. I can't stand it. I can't stand in life phonies. And that's the sense I get with this guy. When he tells you trust the rope, and he tells you it's coaching, and he tells you this guy's bad and that guy's bad, I'm okay. Listen, we're fans. We're emotional, but we're not idiots. We have a chance, Jake. We are in such a good position. Offensive line, draft capital. Woody, talk to Brick. Brick must have some say. Hey, Stefanski, Harper, Kubiak, anybody. What are we doing? We're right there. And if you're going to run it back with this guy, don't you feel like we're getting hazed? Like we're in a world right now where we're just getting picked on. Like it just makes too much sense.
I could give you this. As bad as this season was.
It was bad.
And it was awful. No one could excuse it. At least at the end of the day, the Jets were field goal protection champions. Oh, what a start to this offseason, man. Coach James says, Jake, thank you for supporting us, the Jet fan. Well, thank you, James. Again, we're all sick of losing. Even the people that bootlick for Glenn, I get it. You want to be positive, and we all want the same thing at the end of the day. It's just really tough to root for this team right now. Ted in the house. He's in the raffle for 5. Hit it, AG.
We had a great week of practice.
Let me also say this. No team practices better than the Jets over the last 15 years. Like I'll tell you what, Wednesday through Friday, there's not a team better in football than the Jets. So we have that as well. You're in the raffle for 5, Ted. Thank you. Christopher in the house. He gifted a membership.
We're the freaking New York Jets. So we're shit.
Thank you very much, Christopher. I appreciate you. Interesting question here. Very interesting question that I see I have to address in the chat. I was trying to figure out when I wanted to address it specifically. I think now is a good time. There was a question from Chicken Jenkins. Jake, who is Allen rooting for? Josh's Bills or Drake's Patriots? Let's find out.
Warning, warning, Allen alert. Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning, Allen alert. Hide the children.
I did read that. That was pretty funny, I'll tell you that. I actually put a lot of money on the Bills this week. But I have more confidence in the Patriots than the Bills.
Now, when you watch the game, like you're going to need to contact a doctor probably after it because something in your pants will be,
No, not really. No. But I think this is the year of Joshy. I think Josh is going to go to the Super Bowl.
Joshy. You know how pathetic. How old are you? What are you, 50? Calling him Joshy?
I love Josh. Love Josh. Couple of comments. I want to piggyback on the first thing that Rooster said, not the second, which was moronic when he said that they should basically offer him 3 more years and he'd be fine for that. That's just idiotic. Unless Woody comes out and says that there's separation between Muji and Glenn. When Glenn goes, Muji goes. That's where I differ with your comment yesterday. I think they're in together and they're out together.
And I have no problem with that for what it's worth.
Because once he mentioned the word sidekick, it's over. I don't know how you go back unless you actually stated in public that there's separation between one and the other.
The Eagles did it though with Roseman, and Douglas hired, Gase got Douglas hired, and then Douglas stuck around.
Yeah, but they're a little smarter in Philly than they are here.
I'm just saying it could, like, if they have a good draft, but they just suck again. Like Joe Shane came in when Brian Dable hired him, and he got to survive. Now it's a little different with Glenn. I see your point for sure, but I'm just saying I do think there is a path for Muji to be here and not Glenn. But at the end of the day, I don't care if Muji's here or not. Get rid of everyone if it means we get a new head coach. The coach is more important than the GM anyway.
I agree. One other comment. I listened to the end of the show yesterday with you and Dylan. And Dylan made a comment that I just was so confused by. He said that he thinks the job is more attractive after the 26th season than it is now. And I just don't understand why, because once you give this regime an opportunity to pick a quarterback and you fire them, let's say they get fired at the end of the year, it basically takes away a lot of your coaching candidates. Even though you have 3 number ones, how do you know coaching candidates are going to be enamored with Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore? You have no idea. Now is the perfect time to can these two or can Glenn, because it gives them an opportunity to go from the start and you could build it the way you want to. By giving this regime an opportunity to bring in their own guys, it basically takes away a lot of their coaching candidates in 27, and it basically forces them to maybe make a U-turn or make a side swipe in terms of the talent they brought in. That's why I don't understand why Dylan was so emphatic about the fact that he thinks the job is more attractive after next year than now. I didn't understand that point.
Yeah, I think there's a path for it to be more attractive a year from now. If, let's say, they took Moore, he looks pretty good like Dart did this year, or May showed potential with Mayo, even though that was a mess. And then Vrabel wanted the job in part because of the quarterback. But I think it's risky because what if the quarterback stinks it up like Josh Rosen did? Then all of a sudden you burnt the pick in the top 10. In this case, it'd be the top 2, and you're moving on because you got 3 first-round picks anyway in what's perceived to be a better quarterback class. But we always do this, so I warn everyone in advance. You know what I mean? Like, it could go both ways. I think, to your point, I agree more with you. I don't want to risk it. I'd rather fire Glenn now and let the new coach have his full options available to him on what he wants to do with the quarterback spot.
And finally, on the draft, I was going to piggyback on what Johnny said. I love Sonny Styles. There's no way the Jets are taking a Mike linebacker in the top 5. And that's what Sonny Styles is.
Well, he was talking about trading down.
Yeah, but Sonny Styles is a guy you draft between 10 and 15. You're not taking a Mike linebacker in the top 5. You're just
Agreed.
not going to.
Which is also what I said to him. I said that, and he said he talked about trading out of 2 and doing it.
Yeah, and the only team that I could foresee maybe trading up with the Jets is Arizona, especially if they jettison Murray. I can see them being very desperate, especially right now. They're in no man's land at pick 3, especially if both Moore and Mendoza come out. They need a quarterback, and they'd rather trade up for a quarterback. Sitting there at 3, they're stuck, and they might be desperate enough, especially if the Jets want to pivot towards 2027, that they might actually trade up to us and go get their quarterback and maybe give 2027 capital. It's not saying that the Jets are going to trade back, because I think if both Moore and Mendoza come out, I think the Jets will take one of them. But again, I think Arizona is the team that's so desperate, especially if they get rid of Mendoza, especially if they get rid of Murray, knowing that they have a bridge in Brissett. I can see them being very desperate to moving up. I don't think anybody else is going to move up like Arizona would.
Yeah. I don't know. If Moore's not in the draft, I don't think Arizona's moving up.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one.
Hawks suck, Alan.
Hello?
Hawks suck.
I'm so glad we traded Trae Young. It was about time, and I'm very happy.
I'm happy for you. I'm thrilled.
Thank you very much.
Farewell.
They call me Alan, and everybody hates me because I'm a super douchebag.
More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. But first, let me get caught up on the super chats. We got a Rex Ryan signed football will raffle away across the shows today. The Rooster, who called in earlier, is in the raffle for 1. And our guy Jesse, who's coming to the watch party, goes, I'm not sure how to gift or enter, so I'm just going to send 20 for the sign ball. LOL, sorry. You're in, Jesse. You are in the Asmaniac raffle with this super chat. Well done. We'll get your entries added.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
I wonder what that hug from Woody was like on Monday. If Woody was so pissed with the way the season ended. But he did nothing about it. Joke. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Holy shit, look at that beard! He has a beard, he's the man. Ain't no Santa Claus. Papa Jet loves the Jets. He's one handsome son of a bitch. It's Papa Jet.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Papa Jet, happy Friday.
How do you like it?
I love the shirt, man. I appreciate you rocking it. Our only player we all truly love at this point, universally.
Yeah, I love it's well made too. My son loved it, so I'll probably get him one. Are you hearing me okay? Because it looks like
we hear you
is
fine.
my connection
Papa.
good?
You're good. It's a little grainy, a little delayed, but we got you. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know why. But anyways, what I wanted to tell you before I forget, I played a joke on the wife a couple days ago while my son was over. She got home from work and I said, hon, Jake's giving away this really kick-ass Joe Klecko prize. And he said if any wife calls in and talks to Beast, he'll give the husband 50 raffle tickets. Jake, she freaked out. That was amazing. Funny. You had to be there, but and that's not a knock on Beast. I'll just say the Beast scares the wife. I'll just say that.
I'm too tough. Yeah, we just got out of all these. Yeah, hey, Papa Jet, how are you doing there, Fred Flintstone? Yo, hello, Fred.
I'm doing okay, Barney.
Oh, hey, Fred, maybe later go, boy. That had a kick to it.
Thanks, Jake. But anyways, who you liking before the playoffs start? Who you liking?
I'm rooting for Indiana just because or Ole Miss. I was rooting for them last night because of the story. Yeah, it would be awesome to see them win it without Kiffin. Tonight, I'm just rooting for both quarterbacks to ball out. I haven't decided who I'm going to bet on yet. But I like Mendoza more than Moore, but I am a fan of both quarterbacks, and I want them obviously both to be in the draft for the Jets to figure out.
Me too. I said last night in the Discord, anybody but Miami, because I'm a Notre Dame fan, and that goes back to the Catholics and convicts rivalry. But it'd be funny if not funny, but if Mendoza and Moore crap the bed tonight, and in Monday's chat, all the Chambliss and Simpson move up to 1 and 2 in the draft. It's probably as much as the chat changes their mind. But Jake, what about the NFL? Who you liking?
It's a great question. I'm rooting. I think Seattle gets to the Super Bowl out of the NFC, and man, let me pull up the bracket again. See, I like Seattle versus
AFC's tough, real competitive.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Part of me, I don't want to say New England, but I have a bad feeling. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm picking the Rams in New England. I would love for Darnold to get a ring, just what he's been through. And I don't know, something tells me he's going to throw that untimely late interception, But if I'm Buffalo, I'm not fearing anybody. I do think if they're going to do it, it's going to be this year. They will go against some good defenses, but the reason why I got New England over them is just Buffalo's run defense ain't good this year, and that's why I took the Rams in New England. They got two good running backs each team, and I know they say it's a passing league, but come playoffs, it's defense and the run game.
No doubt.
But that's all I got, Jake. Have a nice weekend, and there's no post-game show, so I guess I'll talk to you Monday or maybe later today. I don't know.
You got it, Papa. You're the man.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Yeah. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We will continue with your calls. But first, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause because there's a commercial that needs to be played that I feel is important on a day like today. So after it plays, we'll be back with your calls. We got the raffle for the Rex football on the show today. Across both shows, your chance to enter. So we'll be right back right after this.
The New York Jets.
Come on!
Select Will McDonald, linebacker,
What?
Iowa State.
What the
Let's
fuck?
go.
I can't believe this shit!
All
What the
right.
fuck are
Hey, there we go. Light it up, Ricky. Yeah, let's get back to your calls right now. One of our favorites is on the Ghostbuster hotline. Ricky NY joins us now. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, Jake.
Hey, Ricky, how you doing?
Thanks for taking my call, Jake. I just finished smoking all the available weed in the panhandle, so bear with me if I collapse here in front of my personalized flag. Any chance you could send that boxing guy, Gary, to the Jameis Winston town? Maybe Gator can build a special hall for quarterbacks who throw more interceptions than completed passes. Well, not a Florida guy, but can go to Seminoles all the way there. If you got a whole lot, get all of them in there. I don't give a shit. Well, I think I got to relight this thing. Hold on a second. I just got this new blowtorch lighter. Let's try it out. Try it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Should have backed off that setting a bit. Anyway, Jake, I'll hang up for now and grab the burn tit again. Later, brother.
Oh, my God.
Yo, Gator is different, man. That dude is different.
Let's keep going with the calls right now. It looks like, wow, I cannot believe this guy actually showed his face. A man who owes us 25 memberships in honor of 25 career interceptions by Zach Wilson. Hawk has called in for the very first time. Hello, Hawk.
Hey, Tyson, what's up, man? Hey, Jake, before you send me to the shadow realm, let me ask Tyson about Zach. Tyson, don't you think we can keep Zach Wilson and just let him start the first few games? I mean, we all know the kid just needs another year behind center, and that'll really get him going. I mean, Crowan, man, you know he's freaking awesome, bro. Maran win.
Oh, man, you're killing me.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
We're back. What a blast. Down memory lane when Hawk called in. While I was taking a Renzo there, I was informed that Jet fans apparently were watching the show and became inspired. Here's a live look at one Jets drive where Jet fans are storming the facility, demanding Woody Johnson to make a coaching change. I knew this fan base was upset, but man, whoa. Hey, now.
Just don't let go of the rope.
This was sent to me by listener Jetstream. Thank you, Jetstream. Well done. More of your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the big-time Glenn bootlickers is on the line.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check to say he's a bootlicker, our Glenn Truther, holding out a rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
Johnny? 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 Johnny. Man. I was waiting to debut that, and I didn't want it to be that way if we couldn't even get the caller on. That sucks. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Gator. I let you down. You worked hard on that. More of your calls. Let's say hello to someone who's not a Glenn bootlicker, and it was the angriest I've ever seen this man calling into the show yesterday.
going on, Jake?
What's up, Kyle?
I'm going to make this quick. I've got people to meet for lunch. But
you get to work from home on Fridays?
I get to work from home 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I get to pick when I go in. So it's not as bad as you might imagine, but still, when you've been home full time for 7-8 years, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think that the real thing with Glenn and not moving past him is the opportunity cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Rooster almost hit on it, and then he kind of missed the mark because you can't go lying and losing whatever remaining credibility you have left if you're Glenn saying, oh, this guy's going to be here for 5 years and then fire him after 2, whatever it is. You have to be able to attract staff, though. That part of what he said is absolutely accurate. And, the whole thing about not moving on past Glenn is, and I think there are always good candidates out there in every cycle, but I think that there are really easily seen slam dunks that would be improvements over Glenn. And it would just require admitting the mistake and saying, okay, we know that the Jets brass must have discussed this at some point. It's an offensive league. The rules really favor the offensive play, right? So get someone who can scheme some guys open and has an idea about what they want to do on offense and have them hire a defensive guy. And a young guy, kind of a true culture setter, because it's not about physicality anymore. I don't know which one of your guests has said that. Maybe it was Robbie, right?
Robbie's been all about how Glenn's focused on things that are outdated in today's NFL. He's been on this for years, and it really was eye-opening to me this year just seeing the offensive coaches that got hired and what they immediately did.
Yeah, I mean, but like, how hard is it for anyone who has a little bit of humility to admit that maybe McCown was the move, or maybe Cliff Kingsbury would have been a good interview, or that not interviewing McCarthy for 2 cycles is a goddamn mistake, and that we should have been a year ahead of Clint Kubiak, right? Because now we're probably not going to be able to sniff that unless he is enamored of the idea of our draft capital and $100 million in cap room, all these guys are going to be able to pick their spots, and they're going to want to go to the places that are tax friendly, that have good weather, that don't have an owner that sucks, and is going to stick there. Is unthinking. Not necessarily that he'll interfere, but he doesn't take the right actions when he needs to, right? And it does ultimately come back to Woody, and I've always kind of tolerated Woody as a necessary evil because you can't fire the owner. But this is a period in our history where, his inability to see his own mistakes is really hurting us.
Oh yeah.
I really don't get the fans who are, Glenn adherents and comparing him, in the chat to Jimmy Johnson, who won a national championship in Miami and who was starting from the ground up and knew it was going to be a full rebound bill.
Just show him this again. Like all these coaches, Glenn was worse than all these guys in so many metrics, and 8 of the last 10 one and done coaches all made the replacement made the playoffs in their tenure. There's overwhelming evidence. I could show the graphs. We could mention the fact that there's been 29 coaches since 2001. That's 25 years of data that only won 4 games or less their first year. Only 2 of them ever won a playoff game. One of them has Joe Burrow. The other one has Jared Goff and had Ben Johnson and has missed the playoffs when he hasn't had Ben Johnson. It's just people don't want to listen. Woody doesn't want to listen. Ultimately, he's got the wrong people in his ear, right? I don't know if Rick Spielman got hired by the 33rd team, right? And then he stayed in the front office with Muji. Is Rick Spielman thinking, oh, I should tell Woody we got to move on from Glenn because I got this job because of recommending Aaron Glenn to the owner? Like, you have just major conflict of interest in the front office. Woody's never going to get the best real advice he needs to hear. I mean, you heard Tannenbaum trying to defend Glenn on my radio show. What do you think he's going to tell Woody if Woody calls him up and says, what do I do with Glenn? You recommended him. Mike's going to say, stay the course, because it will make him look bad if they one and done Aaron Glenn. It will. And I do a radio show with Mike, and I said all this to his face, and that's the position he puts himself in if he does a weekly radio show in New York where we're going to talk about the Jets and the Giants, but that's the big issue.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Spielman goes, and this is my perception, obviously, none of us are in the building, but I feel like he senses he's got a sweet consulting gig. He's kind of dialed out. I've heard him talk about how he only goes in 1 or 2 days a week. It's like,
must be nice.
It's something where, I don't think we can depend on him to intervene and and do what's in the best interest of the franchise, seeing as how he's the guy who had his hand in hiring Aaron Glenn to begin with. So, like, it's just a bad situation, and I appreciate the time as ever, Jake.
100%, Kyle. Great job. Let's keep it rolling with your calls. But first, let me shout out our guy, Coach James in the house. $50 super chat in the raffle for 10 with this. As a leadership coach, I understand allowing a rookie coach to go for a second year to continue to grow. The issue I have is I did not see any progress in the season. We fell backwards, and that's a red flag for anyone who's supposed to be growing. Again, there was no improvements. Aaron Glenn then is asked what he'll do better as a coach, and he just tells you he'll do better. And no specifics. Now go listen to a real coach's presser and listen to how they talk in great detail about X's and O's, game strategy, specifics, staffing hire choices. You don't get any of that from Glenn. Brutal. Thank you for the support, James. And I wrote to James, I'm like, plug your book, man. James, the best-selling author. Leadership Unlocked, 10 Keys to Influence and Impact. It's on Amazon. Check it out, Jet fans. Supported Nasmaniac. He's doing great things. Jesse in the house, did you have at least one good moment last year with fans or anything? Yeah, I mean, I love doing this show despite how bad the Jets are. I do. I like the Asmaniacs, the people who support this channel. I wouldn't be able to do Jets year-round without the support of this great community. The fact that people still care despite this drought and how bad it's been is amazing. So, as angry as I am with the team, I love the fan base. That's why I get so mad, because I just know we deserve better. Houston was way worse, and I was down there doing daily radio talking about it, and they figured it out so quickly with getting the right coach. That's where it starts. And pairing that guy up with the quarterback. We could do both right now. We have the number 2 pick in the draft. We have 5 ones over the next 2 years. We have $100 million in cap over the next 2 years. It could turn like that. We don't need to wait a year. Why are we giving Glenn a year to ruin the development of Moore and Mendoza? Why? Oh, but Jake, it's fine. We'll just get a good coach and they'll fix him. We hope. But why put the rookie through that? Make him learn a second offensive system in 2 years for no reason. Why? You think Bo Nix would be Bo Nix without Sean Payton? The answer is obviously no. Is Trevor Lawrence having this year without Liam Cohen? No. Like, Herbert won 5 games the year before Harbaugh got there. Every other franchise would have fired Aaron Glenn and not thought twice about it. All of them. It's disgusting. So to answer your question, Jesse, did I have a good moment? I mean, our Tampa trip was great. The Asmaniac meetup for the Panther game, our tailgate with Tailgate Joe was great. Everything is always great till 1 p.m. And when the game starts, it sucks. But the stuff before the game is great. We'll do our road trip game next year, preferably early in the year when the weather's nice somewhere, when there's still some hope. But, yeah, I mean, this year sucked. This was brutal. I actually think this was more miserable than last year. Because at least last year, as bad as it was and disappointing as it was just get to the end so then we could try and rectify the situation with a new regime coming in. And at least even last year, they did start 2-1. And I was at the home opener. It was a great feeling leaving that building that night, kicking the Patriots' ass. That was a year ago. The Jets destroyed the Patriots in a primetime game. Now look at us. Anyone thinks we're actually going to win with this head coach we currently have? There's no shot. Jordan is up next. Hey, Jordan.
What's up, Jake? Before I go, I know I always say this, but your headline is what he's pissed off at how the season ended. But every Jet fan in America is pissed off, and across the world is pissed off for the last 20 years. So that does mean nothing. He did nothing to change it. So, and not only that, I found the rope Aaron Glenn's talking about. But
don't let go.
Yeah, I was cleaning up and I found it on the floor, so I just thought it'd be funny. But if Aaron Glenn's end of season press conference should have been, everybody's fired and I resign, if he really cared about this team. Because it's clear that he's in over his head, and he said it right in the press conference. As a rookie coach, this, that, and the third. Nobody cares, bro. We've been listening to you all season say the same things and talk about nonsense over and over and over. Nobody cares. What are you going to do to make a change? What are you actually going to do to help this team next year? What's the move going to be? What you think you're just going to go through the draft and just draft everybody and everybody's going to pan out and the team's going to magically win 11 games and we're going to be in the playoffs? That's the thing that he's not thinking about. And it's just so frustrating year after year to keep going through the same thing. Like you said, last year, at least we had some hope. At least we won a couple games and some key moments, and had some highlights. This year, it was absolutely nothing. Nothing. It was dreadful. But one last thing before I go, I wanted to ask you, it's a random question, but who is your favorite caller of 2025?
Ooh, I mean, look, I defer to the champ. I got to go with Bonesy. He won the tournament.
Okay. I thought I didn't know if you would be different or you would go with your Asmaniacs.
I stand with the people. The Asmaniacs voted Bonesy the champ last year, and I got to go with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had today, Jake. I appreciate it.
Jordan, thank you, man. I'll give you a hug from Woody. All right.
Oh,
enjoy it. Sit back. Really just take it all in.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Hey, I just saw this on Twitter from Puck Empire. Last 17 games, Jets 3-14. Winnipeg Jets 2-15. Think about that. Huh? Now that's a victory right there we all could celebrate. Right? Rex Ryan signed football as the Raffle prize. When you enter, you're entered in our Super Bowl III ticket display. Our Joe Namath signed helmet and Namath replica championship ring. More calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we tried this guy before, and his phone crapped out. He's pumped up about his Miami Hurricanes, and he can't wait to bootlick some more. Hit it.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check to say he's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther, holding out a rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
The U, baby. Congratulations.
Jake, I am speechless, man. I am elated. I am happy. There are no words to describe the emotions that were going through my mind holding my son last night, trying not to scream and throw him halfway across the thing as Trinidad Tramblers threw that ball in the end zone. And then I saw, okay, and everybody's going to say that's pass interference. He also smacked my DB right in the face right
They
before.
never call that at the end of a game.
And yeah, I was going to say, go back in history and find me any Hail Mary where at any level, college, Division III, high school, whatever, where they threw a flag on a Hail Mary. You'll never find it, bro. So I don't want to hear that. That was a great game. Trinidad played his ass off. They had the ball for 18 minutes and scored 27 points. Miami ain't giving up 27 all year. So shout out Ole Miss. They played a hell of a game. Boy, ain't nobody got shit on the University of Miami. We run this state. Lowski, where you at? You always talking. You always calling in. You always got all this stuff to say, but not today. You quiet. You ain't got nothing to say, King Lowski. Ricky, New York, you do your show every day. You call in every day talking that Florida State stuff. Where you at today? You ain't got nothing to say. And Johnny boy, how about Carson Beck, boy? You saw that touchdown? Jake, you saw that touchdown?
I did. I don't know what round he's gonna go, man. But
I don't know either. He's not an NFL quarterback, right? Like he can make throws over the middle of the field. He puts zip on the ball. But if you saw when he tried to throw the deep ball, the man can't throw the ball down the field.
He's probably a backup, but I mean, he's played a lot of games. He's won a lot in college.
Yeah. Facts. I think he can go somewhere, sit for a while. He can come in, be a backup, like a good game type manager. But like, you're not drafting this guy number 1 overall because he's not winning you. He's not a Cam Ward. You know what I mean? And that's that. But he's a really, really good quarterback, and he put the U on his back last night, man.
He did.
And
that drive was amazing, man. It was 15 plays, and he didn't look. He didn't look rattled at all. He's in his 5th year playing college football.
Yeah, and that was the difference last night, I think, is, Carson Beck, you could say whatever you want about him. The man is 35-3 against top 25 teams. So, and like 30 3-5 overall. Like, he's got an incredible record in college. He's a 2-time national championship backup, but now he's playing for his third one, and it's at home. It's in Miami. Like, it's gonna be a fucking move. Sorry, I don't mean to curse, but it's gonna be a movie on January 19th, man. We've been waiting 23 years for this, Jake. So we've been waiting longer than the Jets have for this moment right here. And honestly, like, I came on to brag about the U and everything like that, but I wanted to tie it back into the Jets because I remember when Mario Cristobal got hired in 2021, and everybody had doubts about him. And I get it's a totally different game as college and NFL, but just hear me out for a second. So 2021, we hired Mario Cristobal. He got fired from Oregon. People had their doubts. Hey, he's a good recruiter, but he couldn't get it done at Oregon. What is he going to do at Miami? He comes in his first year. Jake, we lost at home to Middle Tennessee State University. If anybody in the chat can name where Middle Tennessee State University is without Googling it, I'll give you $20. Nobody know. I didn't even know they had a university, Jake, and we lost them. Everybody wanted this man fired. You fast forward the next year, Georgia Tech at home. All Miami had to do was take a knee, Jake. That's it. 99.9% victory chance. This man ran the ball. We fumbled. We lost. I wanted him fired immediately after that game. I wanted him out. So did everybody in Miami because he couldn't win. He was making stupid game time decisions, all that stuff. And then he gets a solid quarterback. And we see what happens when he has Cam Ward. He goes 10-2. And then even though like he's not a perfect coach, you see what a quarterback can do. So that's my only point with Aaron Glenn is that he doesn't have that dude yet. And if he had that dude, I would be all on board with you. If we can bring John Harbaugh in, I'm all with you. Get this man out of my locker room. I don't want nothing to do with him. I'll take John Harbaugh all day. But if we're being real with each other, John Harbaugh ain't coming here. So then you're talking about retreads and hiring a new guy. I'd rather he's got the number 2 pick. Let him pick his guy.
Harbaugh is the only guy you would do that for. I would do it in 2 seconds for Stefanski. I'd do it for McCarthy. I would do it for Cliff. I want a proven offensive coach for the quarterback we're about to take.
So what I would say with Mike McCarthy, I think so you brought up his record before and whatnot, and obviously
It's
there's
very
no
similar to Harbaugh. Yeah.
right. There's no disputing that. But would you say who's had the better quarterbacks in their career, Harbaugh or Mike McCarthy? I would say it's McCarthy, right?
Well, I mean, it's pretty close though if you think about it. Like, obviously Rodgers is great, phenomenal. No one can dispute that, but Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP, and he didn't win a Super Bowl with him. In fact, he didn't even get there. Rodgers, he won a Super Bowl with him. Dak was great with McCarthy. So, and then obviously Flacco, he did win a Super Bowl with. And I just think if you're this gung ho on, you'd move on for Harbaugh, I think the same has to be said about McCarthy. Just look at the resumes; like it's very similar.
I just think honestly it's just a perception for me, Jake. You know what I mean? And I know that doesn't mean much. That's not like anything, like you can't do nothing with that. That's just like how I feel. But for me, like if we brought in John Harbaugh, I'm like, yo, let's go. If you bring in Mike McCarthy, I'm like, like I gotta see it to believe it. But either way, I think we're stuck with this guy. I'm excited for the game tonight, not only to see who Miami plays, but to see how both these quarterbacks plays. Because last night, Trinidad Tramlis, like, I'm not saying he's going to go in the first round. He might come back to college, but the way he played against Miami's defense last night, you have to respect that. And, like, that's a guy that can go in those middle rounds with Carson Beck and the rest of those guys. But we all know it's Mendoza and Moore at the top of this draft. So I want to see how they play. Both teams got great defenses. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. And then the last thing I have is this man right here behind me. This guy right here. This Notre Dame bootlicker. This man talking all this mess over here has not shown his face in about a month and a half. Where you at, Bobby? There's a bolo out for Bobby. If anybody can find Bobby, let me know. This man been asleep behind the wheel for a month. Jake, I love you, my man. I don't know if you got anything for me, but that's really all I got, man. Go Canes.
Love it. Johnny, congrats to you. And thanks for being a good sport about the bootlicker stuff. Look, again, they're keeping Glenn, so I'm going to root to be wrong about him, and hopefully he's awesome. I don't see it, but again, I hope I'm wrong. Congrats to your Canes, though, man. I saw a comment from Joe here. I don't get when people congratulate fans. Did this guy play last night? If you root for the team and you put the amount of time you put being a diehard fan of your team, you're happy that the team won. So while you didn't play in the game, if people say, hey, congrats, man, like they're happy for you. That's what that means. I don't think it's that hard to understand. Hey, shout out to William. Says, Jake, we miss you down in Houston. The Wheelhouse was my daily listen. Who do you got, Texans or Steelers? Appreciate you, William. I was actually in a group chat, group texting yesterday with Andrew, Brad, and Cody about something Wheelhouse related. So we all stay in touch. Cody, I see every year at the Combine and we hang out. This is tough for me because I have no ill will, obviously, towards the Texans. And I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, and I've always liked Mike Tomlin, so I'd like to see them do well. So Houston, I think, should win just based on the fact their defense should be able to get pressure on Rodgers. And we know that Rodgers, if he's hit a lot, he's not going to stay in the pocket, take hits, and deliver downfield. He didn't have to worry about that against the Ravens defense. But there's something about the Texans playing on the road in the playoffs. They've never won a road playoff game, as you know, if you're a Texan fan. Tough place to play. It's Monday night. I would lean Houston if I had to make a pick, but I think this game is really close. The Steelers defense is going to need to get some takeaways against Stroud. That will be the difference in the game. More of your calls right now on the show. Appreciate all of you who are tuned in today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to a man we love, respect, and some of you should definitely fear.
The biggest mistake they made is not firing this whole crew of shitheads before the season started. The coaches can't make decisions. They don't correct anything. I mean, this is a joke.
It's funny. That clip could work for right now. It could have worked a year ago. There's no difference.
Yeah, I think it's going to work for the next few years. How you doing, Jake?
What's
Jake,
up, Peter?
I've never had this feeling before, but it's a terrible feeling to have. I know if that we're going nowhere with this guy. I already know that. And I have like an empty feeling inside of me. But what I believe happened is that the criteria for hiring somebody for the New York Jets was to make sure that that person was going to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. And I think Woody's obligated to Glenn now because he did it. And if you listen to what Rodgers said, it makes sense. He ran down the room. He was in there for 2 minutes. He said, "You want to play football?" And then he told them, "We're going in a different direction." So that was pre-planned. That was already pre-planned. So now Woody is obligated to this jerk. And I don't think Woody thought he was going to be this bad, but he's bad. He's really bad. And you know what? His coaching staff stinks too. There's nobody other than Banjo. There's nobody on that coaching staff. Everybody's saying Tanner Amsterdam. Give me a break. Bring in Mike McDaniel or one of those guys. Clint Kubiak. He always. If you notice, Glenn can't get anybody with a name to come here. I don't think anybody likes this guy either, or they want to work for him, or the Jets. It's one or the other. But they're in a really bad situation. I've never seen this before, and he's sitting there doing nothing. He and the reason why he's doing nothing, I think, is because he can't. I'm sure he told Tannenbaum, make sure that whoever you get in here is going to get rid of Rodgers. I'm sure. And he's not going to ever tell you that. Nobody. And Spielman, too. What is he sitting there telling him, Woody, we got to stick with this guy. He's great.
Yeah, well, the problem is we'll see who they end up hiring. But again, this was part of my argument for why moving on from Glenn made the most sense. We all know he's on the hot seat now. So if you're a legit proven assistant coach who's working their way up or wants to, maybe you're a fired head coach and you got to be a defensive coordinator for a couple of years to get another shot at it, right? Why would you work for Aaron Glenn when your job is maybe guaranteed for a year? Because if he stinks it up in 2026, there's going to be a new regime coming in. You're going to be out of a job. Like Raheem Morris, why would he take the job with the Jets when there's better opportunities elsewhere, more stable situations? Or Jim Schwartz, someone of that ilk. Like, here's what I would do. I would try and make Brian Flores like the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league and basically say, hey, man, if it doesn't work out with Glenn, okay, we're going to give you an opportunity to be the head coach, and you can prove to everyone you're a good coach. You're from Brooklyn. You get to come home. I've been high on Flores forever. I think Evan Roberts had a similar thought when he joined Connor Long the other day, which was a great interview. Like I want to make him the highest paid coordinator or Jim Schwartz the highest paid coordinator and just say you're the head coach in waiting, wink, wink, if Aaron Glenn stinks it up, something like that.
Oh, something like that would.
Him with Cliff were the offensive coordinator too. Hey, here's your again. If you're the offensive coordinator that made a Jet quarterback look good, you're getting a head coaching job right away. And at that point, we should just fire Glenn and just retain the OC. But they won't do that. But I'll worry about that's a good problem to have. I'll worry about that a year from now, should that be the case.
Correct. I'm just very disillusioned with what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone could not be. Again, there's very few scenarios where Aaron Glenn works out with the Jets. That's the reality. We need to be honest with ourselves.
And there's radio silent. There's radio silence at one Jet drive. You don't hear a word about anything, which is even more spookier. Anyway, Jake, I wanted to say Trinidad is excellent. He might be better than the first two quarterbacks, Dante and the other one. This kid is good.
Well, how many dropped interceptions were there last night?
On both sides, there was quite a few.
You know, I like him, but he's what, 6 foot, 6'1"? I don't know if he's going to go in the first round. Maybe he's an option if Moore goes back to school. They take him in the second round or third round. They trade back in there. You know, I don't know where he's going to go.
I thought he looked good. He's quick.
No, he did. He did. He really did. I mean, he was impressive. You don't typically see a quarterback with that background, that size, going in round one.
And I didn't realize that Carson Beck can't throw the ball down the field. I didn't know he had an arm injury or something last year. But he looked good, but he can't throw the ball deep. All his deep passes were short. He had guys wide open.
Yeah, he's won a lot of games, though, man. Look at his record.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's another good second or third round pick. You know, if you need another to have another quarterback.
Right.
So, well, hopefully, Jake, they get their act together. I hope Woody wakes up, but I don't think so. I think there's more to meets the eye going on here.
Yeah, it looks like we might just be stuck with this for another year, but
next year's going to be a wipeout.
Yeah, I mean, again, my fear is they start 1-5 and it's cooked and he's fired and it's just we're wasting our time again. And it's just
exactly.
like why would I expect anything different?
Listen, he said he was going to fix this, and he never fixed anything. Nothing.
No, he made everything worse. There was nothing that was fixed. Nothing.
The defense got worse, and every player on that team got worse. And if that isn't a red flag, I don't know what is.
It's unreal, Peter. Hang in there, all right?
All right, Jake. Take care.
Weed, this is for you.
Oh, shit.
Great call from Peter. Couple super chats, then we'll finish with your calls. K&D in the house. Oh, bleep, bro. Might pull up. K&D calling anytime. Super chat from Jesse. I agree 100%. This year, the vibe was not it. Jets franchise does not deserve us. We're too loyal, to be honest. We know next year's going to be, I can't see what emoji this was, but I'm assuming it was a negative connotation. Yeah, it sucks. And again, the people defending this, like, that's part of the problem, I believe, personally, is my opinion. Because if we're willing to accept this, the owner's not going to act. Like, because people will truly just simp for this organization no matter what they do, clearly. And that's the problem. This was so unacceptable this year. But I digress. I will work for Aaron Glenn to magically improve all these things and prove me wrong. All right, a couple calls left here. Doc Jet Fan is up next on our show today. Hello, Doc.
Hi, good morning, Jake. Thanks for all you do. You make it a lot easier to be a Jet fan.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I can sit and break down film like Blewett, but he does a great job of that. I can make the argument about why Aaron Glenn should be fired, but you've done that already. I want to talk about something that's much more personal to me and how the Jets have ruined the family experience for me, and I bet you for hundreds of thousands of people. You mentioned that you've gone to games with your dad. I go back to the pre-Super Bowl Jets, going to the games with my father, picking up my uncle in Highland Park, driving to Queens, picking up my grandfather with a big bag of pastrami sandwiches and knishes and having a great time. And the bonding that went on during those times, in the late 60s, the gap between generations was bigger than it is now and bigger probably than it's ever been. but we always had the Jets. You know, we talked about the draft before the Mel Kipers and before. I mean, we studied that stuff like the Bible. And now I have kids and grandchildren also, and it's like pulling teeth. I have a great relationship with my kids, and they're into it. We all get on before the draft and we discuss the strategies and everything else. But this is beyond sports now. This is about the ties that bind families and the damage that I think this owner and this franchise has done in the past 25 years to all of us who build relationships around rooting for the New York Jets. I don't know how you underestimate the effect that has. It's a shame. I mean, especially, you know, the way the NFL is built, that the worse you are, the more hope you have because of the way the draft works, etc. But people don't want to play for the Jets. People don't want to work for the Jets now. You know, we went to a game this year in the Ravens empty stadium. It was great. I mean, it was a great stadium, great fan experience, but getting my kids to go to games now is like pulling teeth where it used to be the biggest pleasure of our life. You got to do better than this, Woody. We deserve it.
It's well said, Doc. First time caller, right? I don't recognize you.
I am a first time caller, and I'm hooked on the show now. I'm retired, Doc, now, and I listen a couple hours every day, much to my wife's chagrin. But you are. I'm not. I don't want the bootlicking cartoon, but you're doing a tremendous job. I mean,
Thank you, Doc.
And you're getting better and better and better. And your guests that you know, guys like Robbie Sabo to come on that got it years ago. That the NFL is no longer. It's about the nerds that and schemes that win now. It's not like the NBA where it's pure talent. Those guys are ahead of the curve. Connor, unbelievable, and your show is fantastic, and I give you all the credit. Thank you so much.
Well, great call, Doc, and I'm putting you in the raffle for 2. Call in again. This was an awesome first call, and I think everyone who's tuned in agrees with everything you just said.
Thank you, sir.
Doc Jet fan, retired Doc Jet fan, check it in. Again, I said this last year, right? That the failed Aaron Rodgers era did irreparable damage to the fan base. I think we're seeing that now because this year was so bad. There's no grace period anymore, right? Most of the fan base, 80-85%, they want Aaron Glenn out. I think if the Jets had been functional the last 15 years, maybe not Super Bowl champions at any point, but not a disgrace, not a national embarrassment where they have the worst record in the sport over the last 10 years, I think there would be more grace with Glenn because he is a former Jet, but he ruined all that. And the Jets have ruined all the built-up equity they would get with hiring a former player when it's this bad and how long it's been bad. Plus, this year was just so bad, I don't even know if that's true what I'm saying about this built-up equity. But I know it's definitely not after how bad it's been because you have no faith in the people running the team. How could you? The Jets have been bad for 15 years. I was a sophomore in high school when they last made the playoffs and went to the championship game. So that means half my life, I've only known the Jets being dog crap. When I grew up, they were going to the playoffs with Chad Pennington and with Mark Sanchez. Herm went to the playoffs. Mangini went to the playoffs once. Rex did Rex things those 2 years. We know that. There's an entire generation of fans that don't care for the Jets. They might say, yeah, I'm a Jet fan, but they care about their bets. If they're young, they care about their fantasy team. They watch other players around the league. They don't care about the Jets. It means nothing to them. And then you go to the game, and the stadium experience is terrible. The stadium stinks. It's impossible to get to for a lot of people, especially where the base of the fan base is, which is Long Island. Right when the Jets were playing at Shea, that's Long Island. Right? Queens, right there. It's on Long Island. You don't need to cross a bridge to get to Queens. It sucks. Neil writes in. Neil, you were asking for the call and like you never called in. Doc, when I say to my boys, look at me, I'm an idiot for still following the day-to-day of this train wreck. Oh, Neil says, Doc, when I say Jet, comma, my boys look at me like I'm an idiot for still following the day-to-day of this train wreck. I know. We all can't give it up. Great observation by Dean. Team number 30 here, right? The Browns. They have 20% more wins than the Jets do over the last 10 years. The Jets are the Browns. We are that team. Unreal. What is there to say? It's tough. It really is. Rex Ryan signed football raffle on the afternoon show. If you entered during this one, you are certainly accounted for. You guys are the best. Hey, let's hang out all together. Sunday, T Squared Social, me and John Jastrzemski hanging out with you, watching Jags Bills. Grey Goose will be there giving out free drinks. Friday beers will be there. It's going to be fun. We'll have a good time. Chop it up. Talk Jets football. Watch the games. Halftime raffle. I'm looking forward to it. Can't do watch parties for the Jets in the playoffs, so we'll do one for the NFL playoffs. It would have been great, by the way, if I thought of doing a watch party tonight for Mendoza versus Moore, but the turnaround time was too quick. Maybe if Indiana or Oregon, who's ever in the national title game, if there's a ton of interest, maybe we'll do something for that one. But anyway, you guys are the best. Thanks for watching. We'll be back this afternoon with a great show in store. Antoine Staley, who covers the Jets for the Daily News, will be on with us. We'll check in with what he's hearing about this search for a DC and everything going on. And I'm sure we'll get some good insight from him. So, again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. My name is Jake Asman. This has been another Jake Asman Show. Go Jets. For better or worse, we're all in this bleep show together.
You sons of bitches. I've got a problem with my prepaid card, and I'm trying to fix it. There's some bogus charge on my card, and I don't like the sign of that.
Hey, Beast, which tank top do you like?
I'm not interested in tank tops. Those are for girls. What the hell is wrong with you? Give me someone American I can speak to.
Unless you get the account verified, I won't be able to.
Give me someone American I can talk to.
Why are you so upset? I do apologize, but
I already gave you the account number. Why are you sitting here BSing me? Well, you're sitting there with your hand up your ass. Hello? I had a problem fighting with one of the idiots on the phone. Couldn't speak one blink word of English.
What did they charge you?
$9.99.
So this is all over $10? What's your Venmo, Beast? You have a Venmo? I'll give you $10 right now to make you whole.
I'm pulling it up right now. Ugh.
Jason-Storm-31. You're down $9.99?
Yes.
Here you go, buddy. You've been made whole.
New password, and I can't even get one. I don't even know a password. I'm trying something here.
Gator says, was Beast the best choice as your tech support engineer? I still believe in him, Gator. Absolutely.
I tried raunchy 14. Didn't want to work. Minimize 8 characters, maximum 20. You son of a bitch.
Hey, try I'm not a meatball 69. Hogwarts 350 LBs.
Hey, watch it. Got it. Oh, bullshit, man. Really getting me really ridiculous. This is so fucking stupid. I don't know what the fuck. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the part of the call where Beast turns his camera off and he's gone. Joining us right now is a new member of the ESPN family. He's also an
Nobody gives a shit.
Hold on. I'm having some glitches here, Rich.
Oh, that was great. That was perfect. Nobody gives a shit.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.